Hello everybody and welcome back to the Pennsylvania Berwind. This is episode number 20. Welcome again, thank you for joining me. Today we're going to do a little bit more work on some unfinished areas making our way out towards Allegheny Yard. And I'll talk more about that in just a moment. I've got a few things I wanted to comment on first. First one being, I guess, where have I been? What have I been doing? What is going on in Approach Land? So to answer that question, because some of you guys have been asking and I haven't been posting videos too regularly so far in January in 2018, I got more to come in the future. I'm always saying that, but the truth is I've been doing a lot of off-camera stuff, as I was saying previously in Union Terminal and along the P&B and stuff like that. So currently I have three operating sessions built and basically finished for Union Terminal, and I think that they're pretty good, they're playable, and I think I'm going to do a play test on a live stream with one of my friends who has never ever played Trainz before, just to see what he thinks of the gameplay and how, I guess, responsive or how detailed my descriptions on what to do are in my, what do you call it? What am I trying to say? If he can actually run it, that's what I'm trying to say. Sorry guys, my brain is all over the place. I'm currently in the middle of packing to go visit my brother out in Texas, so I'm doing this video on the fly and trying to get it done pretty quickly so I can get back to packing and hit the road pretty soon. But what else have I been doing? I've been doing a lot of work along the P&B here, adding speed limits and correcting some stuff that needed to be corrected, doing some scenicking in between other scenes, stuff that needed to get done, things that I don't really want to do, but things that need to happen. And I haven't really had a whole lot of convenient time to do any live streams, so it's been mostly just off-camera stuff, and I've been doing it at like 5 in the morning, slowly trying to make myself into a morning person this year, if it's possible. But little by little, I've been getting some of this stuff done. I've also been working a lot on doing some rebranding, so that includes things like my logo and graphic design and stuff that I'm not necessarily super great at, but things that I need to do. And once I get some of that stuff done, that can cascade down into some cool stuff that I might be able to make to give to you guys and have some giveaways and other things that I could possibly do to help build this channel and get you guys a little bit more involved. So I've been doing some of that stuff and thinking about what else I can do to build the channel and make it a little bit better of a community for me and for you and for everybody involved. So that will be coming in the future, and again, that's something that I can't really do much of on camera because I'm literally sitting in my office just doing graphic design and moving stuff around in Adobe Illustrator. So you'll see the finished product hopefully soon enough. That will be coming. Additionally, what was the next thing I was going to say? Oh, yeah, one of the other things I was thinking is of a Patreon or something like that, but I'm not too sure about that. And another thing I'd like to mention, you guys, actually on that same note, is I was thinking of moving my live streams over to Twitch. Let me know in the comments what you think about that, if that works for you. I do usually get a really good turnout here on YouTube, so I don't want to lose that and have to start over on Twitch, but I know a lot of people prefer Twitch over YouTube, and I kind of prefer the platform as well. I think the chat feature is a lot more, it's a lot nicer, and it's a good way for you guys to also support me, which is always appreciated as well. So, on to the next point of my, I'm going to look at my list here. Oh, the other thing, the next thing I'm going to update you on is the main central build. Again, I've tweeted about this, and I think I've put it on my Discord and the like. It is kind of on hiatus temporarily. We're having some issues with the dem file, and some things disappearing and reappearing and doing all kinds of weird behavior. So, we don't want to continue on that build until things get stabilized or we figure out what the problem is, etc., etc. So that might be put on hold for just a little tiny bit, hopefully not too long, because I really was excited to get started on that build and had been planning on it for about almost a year, I think. I did a lot of planning on that, so I was really looking forward to it. And I think that is all of my talking points for upcoming news and things that are going on in my life and blah, 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 all that stuff. Anyway, so what are we doing here? We are working on this area. We are just outside of Allegheny Yard. And this is a location that was not included with the original P&B, so you're not going to find it on the timetable that Bill M produced. this was my addition just to add some variety to the mainline track between Allegheny and Juniata, so that there was a little bit more switching. Plus, I wanted to have some more grain trains. I like grain trains, I like the covered hoppers and stuff like that, so I wanted to have an option to have some more of that. So I thought that these grain elevators were kind of a cool addition, and I added them a really long time ago, so obviously a lot of what we've been doing lately is just cleaning up some of these areas that I kind of got started on years ago and didn't, I guess, finish or wanted to redo because I'm more skilled than I was 5 or 6 years ago. So this is one of those areas, and along that topic, we will be moving more into very much unscenic terrain. Actually, I think almost right after this, we're going to be entering areas where it's just track on a baseboard. So if you're interested in seeing me develop areas like literally from the ground up, that is going to be coming in the next couple of episodes, which will bring me to my next talking point. I think what I'm going to do with the P&B here is just go on a building blitz. So that may or may not change the format of my next few videos, because I think my plan is going to be to just record and then build linearly from here up to Juniata, and then do builds around, not Juniata, around Allegheny, and then do my builds around Allegheny, because there is a big steel mill there, and there's going to be a lot of like downtown stuff. So I think I'm going to go and just bulk record a bunch of stuff, and then break that up into a series of episodes. And if I could do that within, a few day or a week span of bulk recording and get like 3 or 4 or 5 episodes out of that, that'll free up some other time for me to do other things, other videos, or other projects that I have that I've been kind of planning in my head and brainstorming out, that sort of thing. But anyway, back to this particular build. Again, this was a grain elevator, grain silos that I thought would be really cool. And one of you guys out there, one of my subscribers, Terry Bolden, he's always on Snapchat, and he's always shooting me these snaps of this grain elevator that's by him, and he's always telling me how much he loves grain traffic. So Terry, this one's for you. I hope you enjoyed this build. It was just kind of mostly off the top of my head, so hopefully it's accurate enough. I did look at some photos and things like that, but a lot of it was just inspired from country roads that I had driven on, just much like most of my builds are. Places that I had been to, places that I've seen in photos, and things that I kind of find inspiring. So that's kind of like what I had in the back of my mind. I liked the idea of this sort of a little bit of a windy road coming up a hill and cresting right at the railroad tracks, and then just being a straight shot right down this sort of like lonely farm road. And I think that it came out pretty good. I did have some problems locating the proper, I guess, structures that I wanted to use, and texturing and stuff like that. It was a little bit iffy. Like, these farm textures are really tough to deal with, because when you just lay them all out, they get very like repetitive and very bland looking to me, and very flat. So I've been trying to add some variety to it by adding other textures in it, and in some instances it works, and then in some instances it doesn't work. So I'm a little so-so about how some of this worked. But you'll see, like, towards the end of this, the end of the time lapse here, I start using some other, like, crop textures mixed in that are sort of a similar color. And my idea with that was to sort of represent areas of, like, lower terrain, maybe where it got wet and some of the crops rotted, or maybe some of the crops, flourished because there was a little bit more moisture, something like that. So there was a little bit of dynamic to the areas, and it wasn't just this big flat bold texture on the ground with these perpendicular lines just going on for miles. So I did my best to try to mix that up, and I'm not super happy with it still. I will go back and tweak it a little bit more, probably off camera, and just see what I can come up with, because it's really tough with these repeating patterns, man. It really gets hard, and I really underestimated how long this was going to take to do. I kind of bit off more than I could chew, I guess, because I wanted to get the main line done along with this grain elevator. And really, I should have just done what I normally do in my videos and just focused on the grain elevator area right from the get-go, and then worked my way out from there. But again, I've been doing off-camera stuff, mostly session building, so it took me a little bit to get back into the groove of building. And again, this isn't a finished area either. We'll take a look in time-lapse. I don't actually end up finishing it, so I'll either do it off camera or maybe I'll start it with the next video, or maybe we'll finish it during the live stream. I'm not really too sure what we're gonna do. But at this point in the build, I'm trying to work my way down this big street road here. And the first thing I thought I would do was just get the buildings down that I wanted to add to this scene and get a basic layout. I wanted a farmhouse with a barn. I wanted to keep it really simple though. I didn't want to go really crazy with animals and farm equipment and crops and cars and trees and all kinds of stuff. I just wanted to keep it simple. This was just supposed to be just a really nice, simple scene out in the countryside. So I just stuck with the farmhouse, an old barn, and then this other barn, and just trying to texture it all together and you know, make it look like a nice lived-in area where, you know, somebody had a family and maybe it was maybe the farm has been there for a few generations and it's family owned, and maybe they own the grain elevator as well, or they work with the owners and that's where they drop off their grain. So I kind of liked that idea, and I liked having the idea of putting this swing set here as well. Just, you know, I could picture myself as a kid, not living on a farm because I didn't grow up on a farm, but, you know, just going into the backyard and hanging out on the swing and watching the trains go by. I think it would just be kind of like a nice little thing, nice scene. I don't know. So that's my idea there. But I just tried adding in some vegetation here and just dressing it up really nice, but still keeping it simple at the same time. So I think the effect is pretty good. We'll take a closer look in live mode in just a moment. And I think that is going to conclude my commentary for the time-lapse. I'm going to leave you with one more song that we'll get into in just a moment. And then after that, we'll go into live mode and take a look at this build. See you guys in a minute.
You sell me every little lie is true. Oh yeah. But I listen to the heartbeat on the floor. I feel loud every breath just like before. You can't take it anymore. But where you gonna go tonight? Why don't you wanna wait it out? I don't know what you're running from.
All right, my friends, here we are at the last segment of the episode. I hope you enjoyed the time-lapse and that last song. I think that is something that I'm going to do going forward, is just try to add just another song. I spend a lot of time picking out the music that I use in my videos here, probably more time than I should, but I like to feature at least one song. And in case you're wondering, I get all of my music from epidemicsound.com. It is a paid service that I pay for to have good high quality music. But if you're looking for it, the songs, everything I'm using lately is from there. So anyway, let's take a look. I've got a lot to say in a short amount of time, and now I am really pressed for time. So let's just take a final look at our scene, our progress here. I think it's pretty good. Again, as I was saying, some of the texturing I kind of hate. And it's one of those things that I need to... I just gotta adjust my mic here, sorry. It's one of those things I need to update anyway. I need to find some newer, better textures, but sometimes I feel like I'm kind of locked into the assets that I'm using on the PNB because I've been using them for so long, and if I try to update one spot, I have to update everything, and sure, you could do the bulk replace thing, but, you know, how does it blend with other textures nearby, etc, etc, etc. So I think I'm kind of, I'll use the term married to the assets that I'm using for now. Maybe one day we can go back and try to update everything, but for now, we're going to be using these assets. So here with the crops, this is what I was talking about, using some different textures that were similar. And here we've got this dark crop texture, crop 07, Farm Country crop 7. And I used this one as a highlight, which is a totally different brand or different person who made it. CUK Seamless Farmland E. So I think, you know, when you look at it up close, it works. It gives these areas of highlight and shadow, and it breaks up the monotony and the sameness of all this dark thing. So it works. I don't know if maybe I should make the splotches bigger or smaller, but it does work. I did also do it over here with the brown crops, or the brown crop texture. There's actually 3 different textures going on here. There's the green one, there's a brown one, the brown one is the next one over, and then there's another brown one right here. Also one of the CUK Seamless Farmland series. So these ones I found to look the best because they don't have like a repeating pattern to them, whereas something like this, it has I could see a pattern in there, and it's very, very samey. It reminds me of just like a blanket or something. So I'm trying to avoid using that, but some of these other textures, you know, now this was the inverse. I used the highlight for the main part of the texture, and then the dark ones, the dark texture for a shadow effect, which I actually think works a little bit better. I kind of like that, because to me, this is like a low-lying area. Maybe it's a little bit more moist. So you guys hate that word. It's a little more damp. So I like the way that looks. I think it even has a little bit of a sheen to it, making it look like maybe it's a puddle of some kind. So I do like that. And then working my way down this way, I kind of gave up and did this really quickly. So I'm definitely going to come back and redo this because honestly, I hate it. I hate it. Like I hate it. I don't like any of these textures that I picked, and it was just one of those things where I figured, hey, I'm gonna do the mainline stuff and I'll work my way down this way, you know, at the start of the video, and then later on in the video, we'll do the actual grain elevator, but I just got fed up with this, and I'm gonna have to revisit it because I just really hate it. I hate the textures, I just hate it. That's all I have to say about that. All right, let me look at my show notes here and see what's next on the agenda. All right, show notes say I've got 3 more things to talk to you about that I kind of forgot about, but I'm gonna go through them really quickly. First one is I wanted to talk to you about this little scene that I've got right here. You guys know me. I love the idea of like abandoned tracks, and as Bill M would say, tracks and weeds, tracks in the weeds. So this is kind of like my idea of like another abandoned track. So I like the idea of maybe at one time there was more output, or they needed some extra track space for some more cars, and as of recent times, maybe the flow has slowed down, so they left the track in place, but it is out of service. But it has been out of service long enough that these guardrails have been put into place for one reason or another. So I like that idea a lot. I think it looks pretty neat and makes it look like the tracks really have been there for a long time. And I also removed the crossing, whatever you call this, the crossing planks as well, just to give the idea that maybe they're partially paved over. I probably could raise the road up just a little tiny bit more to hide some of the rails, but I think the effect is there. It's pretty cool. And I also disabled the switch here. I mean, obviously you could still switch it and go off the track, but in theory this should be like a pinned switch. And I think originally I had no switch here, so because Trainz automatically defaulted to the junction, so I might test that out and see how that looks. I'm also not sure how the TRC stopper is going to work right here. I haven't tested it, but I think it's big enough to cover all 3 of these tracks. So hopefully that's the case. Again, that's something I gotta test up. Probably do it during a live stream, or do it during some off-camera stuff. So the next item on my list is I just wanted to show you guys exactly what is kind of coming up. Give you a little preview, a little hint at what's coming up next. We're just a few miles outside of Allegheny. This is Allegheny Yard over here. You may have seen it in some of my live streams, some of my other videos. Again, a very unscenic area. This is pretty much nothing. There's a big steel mill in the background. And sorry, I'm talking really quick now, trying to like whip through this so I can get to editing. But yeah, we're gonna be doing some editing, some building through here. I'm open to some suggestions, whatever you guys think that I should include on here. This is supposed to be a team track. I just threw this here a long time ago just to have some kind of like a placeholder representative of the team track here. And I have to make a design decision if I want to keep it here or move it up, or you know, even maybe incorporate it into this build so that maybe there's a team track right over here behind this guy's farmhouse, or I don't know, maybe it can come down here, might be interesting. But that team track is part of the original P&B route tour, whatever you call it, timetable that I have up on my website. So you can take a look at that. That is part of the original build, and as well as the direction that it is. It's supposed to be a trailing point spur going away from Allegheny. So there's that, and then the very last order of business here is we've had a few donations for January, so I'm just gonna go ahead and thank the following people for their very generous donations. Robert Shaw, David Ackridge, which this is his second donation, Al Hien, and Nolan Hearn. So as a thank you to you guys, I have included some buildings here with your names on them. Al's Farm Supply, we've got Shaw's Grain, and we've got Nolan's house. And David Ackridge, I did not include anything for you because I think you already have a building out in Juniata because you've donated before. So in case you didn't know, if you donate to my channel to support my channel, if the donation is over $10, I will name a building after you. So please do not waste your time donating $1 donations, although I do appreciate it. I only get about 60 cents of that, but if you do only donate $1, I am not going to give you I'm not gonna name a building. Sorry. I will thank you, but you're not gonna get a building named. So that's that. So I think that is all of the orders of business for this build, for this episode. So I want to thank you guys once again for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon in the next Pennsylvania in Berwind, or whatever comes next on my channel. See you guys next time.